This is Dumb Down Life, number 75.
So easily, only watch your life bring a changing tide. Oh, but these lines have gotten deep. They show the years that have weathered me. Just walk on by. Just walk on by. She is a sad tale of a beauty queen. She was the proudest woman that you ever did see. But with her eyes on her past, gazed in disbelief. How could a faith in something so beautiful leave a feeling so empty? And these lines on her face trace the tears. And the weathering of a lifetime is from years and years and years. Oh, she said, "Now don't you work on me." Yeah. Lord knows I'm just a tragedy. Oh no, don't you waste your time. You see, the moment just passed me and I would walk on by. Just to walk on by. Just to walk on by. Just to walk on by. just walk on by. Ooh, yeah.
And that was Delilah Why with Walk On By. And this is Dumbed Down Life number 75 on day 3 of National Podcast Post Month, I think. I can never remember what it's called. Right, yeah. I can never remember what it's called.
They do need a more catchy name somehow, don't they?
Doesn't really trip off the tongue very well, does it?
No.
But it's doing its job. We're on our 3rd day. This is 3 days in a row. More shows than we've done in the last 2 months. Can't really argue with that, can you? So, what did we talk about yesterday?
Yesterday we were talking about how wonderful the iPhone is and lets you lay in of a morning.
Good. I'm glad we did. Yes, we did talk about the iPhone. Because, have you heard of a thing called geocaching?
I have heard of it. I tried it for a bit and it didn't particularly float my boat.
Right. For those of you that don't know, geocaching is kind of like the 21st century version of orienteering. You have a GPS unit and a GPS location, and you have to try and find the location, and somewhere around that point will be a little box or a film camera case or something like that. And within there will be a logbook where you can write your name, and then you record the fact that you've been to that geocache. So last weekend I attempted it because I now have the iPhone with a GPS and an application that does it. I thought, well, why not? You know, I've got a free weekend. Let's give it a go. Yeah, I didn't get on very well either, to be honest with you.
Did you find any?
Well, I've only downloaded the, I think it's called, I can't even remember the name of the application now, but it's a light version. So it only gives you 3 of the local geocaches to your area. If you paid for the full application, you get all of them. So I duly drove the 2 miles to my closest one.
All right.
Parked up at the end of an alleyway, because they're always kind of in an out of the way place to sort of, so they themselves don't get stolen or moved or wrecked or anything.
Yep.
So I'm wandering down this footpath essentially. It'd been raining. It was incredibly muddy, and I couldn't find it. There was a hint that said it's under a brick. So I found where I think it must have been or should have been, and promptly did nothing but just fall over and cake myself in mud.
Oh,
yeah, it was kind of in a little gully thing by a housing estate, but it was full of sort of trees and that, and there was this bush, and I could see sort of roughly where I think it ought to have been. So I'm standing at the edge of this gully, and I just sort of took one step forward, slipped, and then sort of panicked, because the last thing I want to do is fall over and wreck my new iPhone. So that became more important than my own personal safety. Absolutely covered in mud. So I then sort of got up and thought, nah, screw this. And sort of trudged my way back to the car looking very bedraggled and sorry for myself.
Now, don't forget, your iPhone's actually got a camera on it, so the next time you fall face down in a puddle of mud, we want to see a picture. And you can geotag it so we know exactly where it was you fell over.
And that would probably help other people trying to find the bloody geocache that I couldn't.
My experience with it, before you had your iPhone, you did have the capability of doing geocaching, because you got one of those little GPS blocks, haven't you?
I did have, but I never really got a phone that was reliable enough that talked to it reliably enough and a map and everything to actually sort of do it properly.
Well, you don't have to have an application to do it. You don't actually have to have a GPS device. You can type the clues into Google, and it'll tell you the location on the map, and you can then go to that area, and then finding it is just as the same as trying to find it if you'd got there using GPS. But I went down to mine, which is walking distance from me. I found remains of a pencil. So I was where it was supposed to be. The clue was not particularly subtle. It was like, where you want to give your feet a rest, and there's a bench. It's like, well, okay, it's going to be there then. So found remains of a pencil where something had been there, but never found the geocache. And it's like, nah.
But is that the one that you pointed out? It's in the middle of Bracknell, then sort of like this underpass of a roundabout.
Underpass of a roundabout, yeah, where enough people are going to go through there, and kids playing around on the bench are going to just find it by accident, and it just doesn't really work. But with the websites, they do explain to you when you get to this point. If you look up to your left, you will see such and such a pub. Before that was a pub, it was and it gives you a little bit of local history. I don't know. Does the application do that, or is the application purely about the game?
It's purely about geocaching. In fact, the application is called Geocaching.
I think part of geocaching is trying to get you to know the area, to know some of the local history. So doing a little bit more than just hide and seek and hunting the object. You've got to sort of appreciate what's going on around and having a look at, say, the websites that tell you the significance, if there is any, of the places where the caches have been hidden.
Yeah, I think I will have another go at it. This was very much on the spur of the moment, and just sort of literally fired up the application, drove to the place, couldn't find it, got muddy and came home again. But I do think maybe on my next free weekend or something, I will try another one that looks like it might be somewhere a bit more, well, less dirty.
Yeah.
Less muddy.
Good people, I must warn you, I'm the villain of this song, the one who threw this down into the fairy tale pond. So I'll tell to you the story from beginning to the end. Then we'll say amen, good people, then we'll say amen. A nobleman came courting my younger sister Claire, with velvet-colored eyes, flowing chestnut hair. She did not care a whit for him, but still she did agree to go walking out, good people, underneath a willow tree. She noticed not his virtue or his keen and supple mind. She noticed only riches and a golden ring so fine. He noticed not my kindness or my loving sympathy. He noticed only her, good people, never looked at me. He might have been a soldier troubled by a desperate war. He might have been a captain having sailed the world o'er. He might have been a monk for all she felt his magnet pull. She was such a fool, good people, such a greedy fool. Too far, wanting her to understand that I, the elder sister, was a better suited maid. Now her death, good people, is the price that I have paid. Good people, I did warn you, I'm the villain of this song. I told to you my story, not your sorrow to prolong. Mark jealousy, the master that has brought me to my end. Now we'll say amen, good people, now we'll say amen.
That was Maria Dunn and The Elder Sister. Now, part of podcasting is that it's not all about the music. It's not all about the chat. There's all sorts of different aspects to it. And one of the things that I particularly enjoy about podcasting is audiobooks. Now, if you've experienced books, typically it's simply somebody reading out the book, but having it recorded on tape or CD or something like that. With podcasting, what's happening is that they will release the book in a serialized way. Typically, it's going to be an episode a week, sometimes more like our podcasts. It's an episode whenever they can get to it. Now, of all the different podcasts that I've listened to, my favourite by far, and he's become my favourite author, is a gentleman by the name of Scott Sigler. Now, if you were to listen to Scott himself, he'll tell you that he's been podcasting non-stop for, how long is it now?
It's about 27 years or something.
About 27 years, which, considering the internet's not been around for that long, that's not too bad, really. And he's a self-proclaimed dark overlord of us all. He's got the ego the size of, well, the Albert Hall. But he sells himself and he sells his stories so fantastically well. There has been, let's try and go through these now. Earth Core was the first podcast that he did, followed by, any clues?
Ancestor?
Was Ancestor? It might have been Earth Core, Ancestor, The Rookie.
Yeah.
Contagious. Contagious.
No,
not
Infection. Sorry, Infection first, then Contagious.
Infection, then Contagious, and
Nocturnal.
Not Nightbreed. Nocturnals, that's the other one. As well as a plethora of little short stories. And these are stories which at some point he's had published or he's tried to get published. And through the world of publishing being as fickle as it is, he's not managed to get book deals and so forth. So he's made a podcast. Once he's had this podcast take off and got an audience, he's then gone back to the publishers and said, look, here's a story, and I've got 10,000 people who want it in print. Can you print it for me, please? And publishers were a little bit skeptical about this. They're like, well, what do you mean you've got 10,000 people who want this book? And so Mr. Sigler was able to download information and show the amount of subscribers that he's got to his website and say, look, can we do it? And he's now had 4, 5
Didn't he self-publish his first one?
He self-published his first one,
and then sort of went to a company, a publishing house, and said, "Look, I did this all by myself. I've got people that have bought a book I've published myself. Fancy giving me some backing?" And I think that's where he it sort of started to snowball from there, didn't it?
Well, the thing is with self-publishing, where you sort of take your little manuscript and you go to the web page and you upload it and you basically click on print and you put the picture that you want on the cover, and the book that comes back, it's mediocre. It's not particularly one that's going to last very long, not very high quality, and he didn't like that. You know, it's great that people are able to read his books, but they're not proper bookshop quality. So that's why he wanted to take it that little step further and get himself proper published. But through which was the one that he got into the New York Times bestseller list with? That was,
I think it was Contagious, wasn't it?
That was Contagious, I think. Yeah, managed to get into the list of New York Times bestsellers. So if you're into science fiction and all that sort of thing, have a look for Scott Sigler at www.scottsigler.com.
Hi, this is Scott Sigler, author of the novels Infected and Contagious, and you are listening to Dumb Down Life.
And that brings us to the end of another show, and we will be recording again tomorrow, and we look forward to you hearing us then.
you can call the Dumbed Down Life crew on 07092 274 759.
You can follow us on Twitter. Our account name is Dumbed Down Life.
The email address is ddl.podshow@gmail.com. The website address is www.dumbeddownlife.com.
An elderly couple is sitting in the church in the middle of a sermon when, at one point, the husband turns to the wife and whispers, "I just had a silent passing of gas. What should I do?" And the wife leans close to his ear and says, "Don't worry. As soon as we leave the church, we'll get you some new batteries for that hearing aid."
Yeah, took me a minute, but I got there.